It was very one-sided, one-way train, and Sean Strickland's unanimous decision win against Uriah Hall. My question is this, AJ. One of the biggest problems I talked about with Uriah Hall is he's a slow starter. Happened again this fight. But the big criticism on him as a whole in his entire career is that sometimes it appears that he's not, and this is from an outside perspective. Clearly, we don't know what's going on with him, but it appears that sometimes he's not mentally checked into the fight. Like he's there, but he's not there. Like Sean Strickland, he has these famous words I think he used against Jack Marshman when he was just piecing him up, talking to him. He was like, the lights were on, but nobody was home. You know what I'm saying? And it's like kind of like appeared that could have been Uriah Hall, because Sean Strickland, not only is he on a 5-fight win streak tied with Brendan Allen for the second longest win streak in middleweight division right now, behind Israel Adesanya's 10 fights, but he also earned the middleweight striking record for the 186 significant strikes landed on Uriah Hall, which this dude normally does not get hit a lot. What happened, man? What happened here?
I think it was just that, man. I think Uriah Hall just didn't. He went back. I feel like there's two forms of Uriah Hall. There's prime time, and then there's Uriah Hall. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Uriah Hall just didn't show up. He was just kind of off. And I full credit goes to Sean Strickland on this one, because he's made it. They say you made it when your idols become your rivals. And back, 5 years ago when these two were training together, Uriah Hall was beating him up. Uriah Hall was piecing it to him, and then even Sean Strickland was saying, like, this guy, he's a hard fight. Like, I knew he was going to be a hard fight, so I knew I had to bring it. So I think on the other side of the coin, Uriah Hall was thinking like, oh, okay, I'm going to dog this dude. Like, I smack this dude up and down the whole block every time we fight. Like, I'm not even that worried. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to start working him right off the bat. Boom, he gets hit with a jab. And you saw one of those first jabs, he, like, started wiping his nose like, oh, shit, like, I got hit. And that hurt. Like, oh, my God, I'm in it. And he right then, that's when I started to see the gears start turning. And sometimes when you're a thinking fighter, like we're talking about Jin Yu Fry, that's a good thing. Your brain's working, you're firing on all cylinders. But for other people, you're not a thinking fighter. You fight off instinct, and you fight off like prime time fights. It just wasn't a good look, man. And I don't know if the lights were on, nobody was home, or the lights were on and everybody was cleaning up instead of actually fighting. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it was for Uriah Hall. He was just thinking about too many different things instead of focusing on the dude that was right in front of him, jabbing his face off for 5 rounds. Honestly, though, all credit goes to Sean Strickland on this one. This dude absolutely put it to Uriah Hall, and I think there's no other, like, I don't even know. That, like, it was an amazing performance by Sean Strickland, and sad to see for Uriah Hall.
Exactly. That's really how you got to sum it up, man. Like I said, this was very one-way action for round 1 to round 5. I thought I was like, okay, round 3, I was like, this is when Hall's about to pick it up. Same thing, time and time again, man. Maybe a broken orbital for Uriah Hall. I know I'm using that a lot, but a lot of people's faces were getting smashed in this weekend, man. But I do have to say this. One thing that I had noted on the pre-show is that Sean Strickland, his best path to victory is making Uriah Hall, smothering him and making him turn into a boxer. Because if I had to count right now, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but aside from a couple of calf kicks, we're talking big spinning kicks, head kicks, I think Uriah Hall literally threw like one the entire fight. So I don't know if he knew, like, maybe in training it didn't work against Strickland before, or he was just in boxing range trying to outbox Strickland. And that was just, to me, it's like that was Strickland's best path to victory. He got the job done, man. God, I wish I had something better to say about this, but it does look like this is the end of Uriah Hall's championship hopes in the UFC. He's 37 years old, man. He was on a nice streak, but then it calls into question, what do you think would have happened in that Chris Weidman fight if Weidman didn't break his leg? Because I picked Weidman to win that fight, and then obviously Uriah Hall wins via leg break, but we could have seen something similar, man. Weidman likes to get in your face, throw big hooks at you, all that good stuff. I will say Sean Strickland, one thing that he said, he was like, I need to learn how to punch harder, dude. Like, I can't just have a dude out on Queer Street like that and not get the job done, He was like, all that striking record, all that means is that I just hit like a pussy. Like, I can't even hit hard, So I got to have to. So it's like that self-deprecating, and you love to see it. And he's turning into an enigma, man. He's turning into a legit commodity for the UFC. And I think that he has placed himself very firmly in that one fight away from a title shot conversation in the middleweight division. Last thing before we move on to some matchmaking, AJ, I want to ask you, first off, did you ever anticipate Sean Strickland even being in that consideration for, like, this dude might be able to fight for a title? And if he fought Kamaru Usman, which he already got knocked out by Usman, if he fought him again, how do you think the tide will have changed for the 30-year-old Sean Strickland, the Sean Strickland 2.0?
Definitely not this early. Like,
Hmm.
I thought, if anything, Sean Strickland was going to be in the mix maybe in a year, 2, 3 years down the road, kind of build up to it, have a little bit up and down like we've seen in his career so far. But nowhere near this early, man. He's on a meteoric rise, and I think it's very well deserved. And I think if he fights Kamaru Usman again, Kamaru Usman better be working on, or I guess not working on him because he's absolutely dominant on them, but those takedown game. That's the way to beat Sean Strickland right now, is just get him away from punching you in the face and walking you down, and just take him down and beat him up, because I think that's the only way to go with Sean Strickland, man. Those hands are too quick, that jab is too snappy, and he knows how to fight. And I think the scary thing about him, and if you've ever fought somebody who likes to fight, that's what's scary about Sean Strickland, man. He thoroughly enjoys it and he likes it, and he doesn't even watch the UFC. The crazy thing is, he's like, I don't know anybody in the top 8. I know Brad Tavares and Israel Adesanya. And that's it. Like, come on, Izzy, and like, fuck you, Brad. But he was just joking, obviously, because they train together. But that's crazy. He doesn't even watch the UFC. He just likes to scrap. So that's a very dangerous man in the cage when he's not going to be starstruck anymore. He's just out there to come clean some clocks. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. That'd be cool to see a rematch with those two.
Absolutely. I don't know if I don't think he has to get like a big decisive win against a really high level dude to be able to get that title shot, in my opinion, just because there's a couple people who, I mean, I still want to see Wonder Boy versus Usman personally. I still think that would be a really good matchup. Does he deserve it after his loss to Gilbert Burns? No. Maybe Gilbert Burns gets a rematch. Obviously, this ain't the matchmaking portion. We're going to run through that real quickly, but huge win for Sean Strickland, man. Huge win, propels him up the rankings for sure, at least up to that 8th spot. And then, listen, we're going to talk about who they're going to fight next, man. So that was the main card, folks. Drop a like, all that good stuff.